5, 2026, and these are our top stories. Liberia and European Union strengthen economic ties at high-level meeting in Brussels. Liberia Petroleum Refining Company rejects claims rather of mismanaging government funds. 61-year-old woman sent to court in connection to the deaths of three minors in Lima County. And in foreign news, more than 1,700 Africans are fighting for Russia in its war in Ukraine. These stories and much more, including sports, the weather forecast, the news in Liberian English and French. But first, the news bulletin and Chris Tao.
Liberia and the European Union have strengthened economic ties. A high-level meeting in Brussels on the sidelines of the Liberia EU Business Forum. Liberia's Finance Minister Gustin Gapwan held a high-level meeting with EU Commissioner Director General for International Partnerships, Keon Doans. The meeting focused on strengthening the long-standing partnership between Liberia and the European Union, particularly economic cooperation, private sector investment, and sustainable development. Minister Gafwan conveyed the appreciation of President Joseph Boakai and the Liberian people for the EU's consistent and dependable support, especially during a period of global economic turbulence. He recalled that when international uncertainty led to major disruptions in development financing, the European Union remained engaged and supportive. The minister highlighted several EU-supported initiatives that continue to deliver visible results across Liberia, including youth empowerment programs, private sector development, and fisheries and agro-processing, among others. Meanwhile, EU Commission Director General for International Partnerships, Cohen Duens, reaffirmed the European Union's commitment to Liberia. He described the relationship as one rooted in shared values and long-term partnership rather than short-term transactions. Discussions also emphasized the need to move the partnership to the next level by bringing European and Liberian private sectors closer together. According to a dispatch, both sides agreed that accelerated private sector engagement is critical to transforming Liberia's youthful population into an economic asset. The meeting also touched on cooperation in energy, infrastructure, and value chain development, with power and energy identified as central to Liberia's long-term transformation and industrial growth. The Liberia Electricity Corporation (LEC) and partners in Europe have engaged in several areas, including trade, investment, and development cooperation. LEC said the goal is to reposition the country as a prime destination for strategic partnership, especially in energy. Speaking at the Liberia EU Business Forum in Brussels on Wednesday, LEC Managing Director Mohamed Sharif urged potential investors, development finance institutions, and private sector actors to invest in the corporation's ambitious portfolio. MD Sharif said the proposed investment portfolio is designed to accelerate the growth and self-reliance of LEC's generation, transmission, and distribution capacities. According to him, the Liberia EU Business Forum provides a strategic platform for LEC to deepen engagement with European partners, attract long-term capital, and foster sustainable infrastructure development critical to national growth. Information Minister Jeremy Pierre has discussed global communication plans with the Deputy Head of Division for West Africa at the European Union External Action Service, Charles Gerald, on the sidelines of the EU Liberia Business Forum. The meeting focused on strengthening cooperation between Liberia and the EU in strategic communication, countering disinformation, and digital diplomacy as Liberia assumes its role as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. A statement from the Information Ministry says Mr. Pia noted that modern diplomacy requires clear and timely public communication. The Information Ministry both further sought technical assistance for knowledge transfer and institutional support in order to build lasting systems within the Ministry of Information and the Press and Public Affairs Office of Liberia's permanent mission in New York. Minister Pia in the statement further noted that government communication arm will develop clear messaging in advance of major debates on issues such as peacekeeping reforms and climate security. Meanwhile, Deputy Head of Division for West Africa at the European Union External Action Service, Charles Gerald, expressed appreciation for the engagement and assured of the European External Action Service's commitment to Liberia. Mr. Gerald said the EU has interest in partnering with the Ministry of Information to strengthen communication outreach to African audiences. The EU Deputy Head for West Africa shared Liberia's concerns about countering disinformation, including the spread of fake artificial intelligence generated content and its rapid dissemination across digital platforms. The release stated that both parties agreed on the value of continued dialogues and the determination of focal points to develop a practical action plan. The Liberia Petroleum Refining Company (LPRC) has termed as baseless media reports that it is collecting and mismanaging government's revenues. LPRC Managing Director Amos Twe also described the report as misleading and only intended to spread falsehood in the public space. Mr. Twe told a news conference Wednesday revenues collected at the LPRC are done by the Liberia Revenue Authority as the government entity charged with such responsibility.
Currency does not collect tax money from petroleum product for government of Liberia. It's rather collected by the Liberia Revenue Authority.
He clarified that at no point in time did LPRC collect revenues. Meanwhile, Mr. Twe has recommitted the LPRC to fostering transparency, institutional integrity, and compliance with national laws. Police in Nimba County have forwarded to court a 61-year-old woman, Mary Gia, for her alleged involvement in the deaths of three minors in Menla Town, District 9, Nimba County. The tragic incident occurred on February 22, 2026. According to police investigations, the suspect confessed to causing the deaths of her three grandchildren and claimed that she was possessed by a spirit which influenced her actions. The Liberia National Police extended deepest condolences to the bereaved families while assuring the public that justice will be pursued in accordance with the law. At the same time, the Liberia National Police has confirmed that it is investigating an allegation of attempted rape involving an officer assigned to the Grand Bassa County Police Detachment. The allegation was formally reported on Tuesday, February 24, through the Professional Standards Department and the Women and Children Protection Section at the Grand Bassa County Police Detachment. Upon receipt of the complaint, the Liberia National Police immediately initiated both administrative and criminal investigative procedures in accordance with established laws, regulations, and internal accountability standards. The LMP in a release says the officer concerned is currently subject to internal administrative review pending the outcome of the investigation. The statement added that preliminary investigation is underway to determine the facts and circumstances surrounding the allegation. The LNP says it maintains a zero tolerance policy toward misconduct, particularly in matters involving sexual and gender based violence, abuse of authority, or violations of human rights. Two private international companies have disclosed plans to support sustainable development and economic growth in Liberia. They are the Alka Power Holding BV, a multinational renewable energy company headquarters in the Netherlands, and the BFS Mining and Global Development. Representatives from both companies highlighted their commitment to expanding access to clean and reliable energy across the country. They made a commitment during a special investment and acquaintance meeting held between investors from Canada and Netherlands and the Liberian government Wednesday. The officials emphasized that the initiative support national development goals and will strengthen key sectors, including healthcare, education, and agriculture. In remarks, Deputy LC Managing Director for Operations Thomas Gonkewan promised to work with investors in line with the LC's strategic plan. The Central Bank of Liberia (CBL) has endorsed the upcoming 2026 Bongama National Fisheries Investment Conference in Monrovia. CDL reaffirmed its commitment to supporting initiatives that promote sustainable economic development. According to a release, the bank pledged to back efforts that enhance access to finance and stimulate private sector investment. Speaking during the sixth steering committee meeting, CDL Deputy Governor for Economic Policy, Dr. Musa Dukle, urged NAPA to remain engaged in deliberations to resolve outstanding issues and advance the conference planning process with clear and actionable outcomes. Dr. Dukle emphasized that Liberia's fisheries sector holds substantial potentials for employment creation, food security enhancement, and broad-based economic growth. The 2026 Fongama National Fisheries Investment Conference is expected to bring together policymakers, development partners, financial institutions, private investors, and sector stakeholders to chart a sustainable and investment-driven future for Liberia's fisheries industry. It will convene policymakers, development partners, financial institutions, private investors, and sector stakeholders to shape a sustainable, inclusive, and investment-driven future for Liberia's fisheries industry. And the Liberia Refugee Repatriation and Resettlement Commission, Lntv, has signed a tripartite memorandum of understanding with two institutions to implement Executive Orders 144 and 147. They are with the Liberia Immigration Service and the National Identification Registry. Executive Orders 144 and 147 aim to provide durable solutions for integrated Ivorian refugees and other recognized refugees who have chosen Liberia as their permanent home. The MOU seeks to strengthen the legal documentation process for thousands of refugees in Liberia. Speaking at the signing ceremony, Lntv Executive Director Councillor Cole Bangaloo described the agreement as a decisive and coordinated national step towards implementing the two executive orders. Councillor Bangaloo added that the collaboration aligns with the mandates and technical capacities of the three institutions in establishing a clear, efficient, and right-based framework for issuing biometric resident permits and specialized refugee identification cards. For their part, Liz Commissioner General Elijah Rupert and NIR Executive Director Andrew Peters assured of their full commitment to ensuring a smooth and effective implementation of the process. The two institutions said the MOU is a milestone coordination that will contribute immensely to the documentation of refugees in Liberia.
Please now in the news, bulletin one of the top stories this evening, 61-year-old woman sent to court in connection to the deaths of three minors in Lima County. The Liberia Petroleum Refining Company has shortly reacted to media reports that it is collecting and mismanaging government's revenue. LPRC Managing Director Amos Stewart described the reports as misleading and only intended to spread falsehood in the public space. At the news conference Wednesday, Emmanuel Bongo asked Mr. Stewart to outline the roles and responsibilities of the LPRC.
LPRC collects non-statutory fees for our
Senate radio on message.
Yeah, it's still there. I'm going.
Yeah. So where is it? Why it wasn't the isn't the audio isn't clear?
No, he said
No, but oh yeah, yeah. No, the story. Yes, please check that out.
The one is in the book.
Stand. Understand calling.
Including operational control, where
That's in quote.
government taxes
Yeah,
remain
hello,
paid,
hello.
even where LPRC service
La loma
fees
aquí organiza.
have been settled. The thing cannot occur unless government taxes have been fully paid to the Liberia Revenue Authority. The LRA maintains sole jurisdiction
LMP,
over the determination and collection of taxes, duties, other letters are defined by the government. LPRs
Almost ending, yeah.
strictly as the technical
Oh,
operator
Sunday
and does not collect government
Yeah,
practice of any
Amos Sweat is the managing director of the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company. Good news for scores of refugees desirous of obtaining documentations and other permits to reside and operate in Liberia without fear. This is because the Liberia Refugees Repatriation and Resettlement Commission Tuesday signed a tripartite MOU with the Liberia Immigration Service and the National Identification Registry to legalize the stay of several refugees in Liberia. As you hear in this report by Koluba Zizi, the MOU is aimed at implementing Executive Orders 144 and 147 issued by the President.
And carry up.
You call it in.
3
Tell
minutes.
them about why so
National Identification Registry, LIF, was larger before signing said they
On the bathroom.
will different to executive orders.
eventual
Seven, those refugees
these
are
are already
getting
indexed when I LEC.
These refugees
After LEC.
Careful how I'm
as
supposed
community citizens are
Yeah, hey, put it with down.
to be
After that last night, but how you put on the CIDC?
So we have gathered to sign this MOU to work together in the close coordinated way to ensure that it is effective. So from the perspective of the Liberian Immigration Service, we want to assure the Liberian people that we want to work in close
I
coordination
use our 15 minutes to
with
get
the
for
lead
it.
agency, the Electoral the National Identification Registry, to ensure that this is a possibility.
also so
Okay,
was the NRR executive director and
Usually they install right after the first.
Right after they finish the